My name is Larry Jewell from the Edmonton Pride Seniors Group. It's October the 19th, and thank you all for attending the Aging with Pride discussion group for 2SL GBTQ plus seniors. We're beginning our third season, so we're delighted with that. Thank you to our partners from SAGE and where we are this morning, and Pride Center of Edmonton. Before I introduce our speaker, I must acknowledge that we are located on Treaty 6 territory and respect the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our lives. I must let you know that the session will be recorded for future use on our YouTube channel. If you don't want your image, and this is for the people online, if you don't want your image to be recorded, please just close the video feed. And now, and with great pleasure, I introduce our speaker. Odette Bose is with Health Canada and is going to speak today on healthy home sessions for seniors and in general on chemicals in the environment and how they affect your health and ways in which you can protect yourself. Odette, over to you, and thank you for coming. We will have questions after, and Odette will present a short evaluation summary that she needs. So,
great.
You're on.
Great. Thanks everyone for joining me, and thanks for having me. And yeah, so I'm from Health Canada, and just to give you guys a little bit of my background, I have an environmental engineering background. So I've worked with about 17 years in contaminated sites, human health risk assessment and toxicology with chemicals in the environment. And I work with Health Canada now in chemical management plan. So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. So I will start. I do have an acknowledgement as well about, I just want to acknowledge that we're meeting on Treaty 6 territory and acknowledge the past, present, and future caretakers of the land, that we are all treaty people, and that we want to acknowledge that we're joining you today from many places, and acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of these lands from coast to coast, and acknowledge the ancestral and ceded territory of all Indigenous peoples that call this place home. Please join me in a moment of reflection to acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and to consider how we can, how we are, and how we each can in our own way try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. So first of all, I wanted to do a grab bag introductory. So just to introduce you guys to some of the different chemicals of harm that can be in some of our everyday products that we may not realize. So first of all, so just let me know online, just come off chat or come off mute if you can't see the products that I'm talking about or anything like that. And also feel free to come off mute and just to answer any of the questions I'm asking as well. And just people in the audience to, answer, any of the questions. So first, I just have a single-use plastic bottle here. Does anybody know what might be the chemical of concern that would be with using this?
The plastic.
Yeah, so what do you know does anyone know the specific chemicals though that might be?
Biphenyls?
Yeah, biphenyls, but yeah, you might, it is like you said, it's not important to really know the specific chemical, people might have heard of it, BPA, bisphenol. It's been in the news, but with BPA, it can, when with bottles like this, if you keep reusing them, they're not meant for that. So those kind of chemicals in the plastic can leach into the water, and you're drinking that in. So that's the problem with the plastic bottles. So when you're dealing with any type of plastic bottles, so even like my Coke bottle, you know, you don't want to keep reusing it. They make those reusable water bottles for a reason. You know, like these type of bottles aren't meant to be basically reused. So you don't want to, and then you don't want to also like have these in your cars in direct sunlight and things like that being heated up even in the microwave. They're not meant for that type of use, because when you're heating these up, the chemicals that are inside are the ones that are going to be, to make the plastic, those chemicals are the ones that are going to start leaching into the water or whatever food products that you have. So the same thing goes for any plastic food containers that aren't meant to be in the microwave and things like that. So those are the things that you want to watch out for with any type of plastics, you know, that you're using. Then next we have this product. This is a aerosol spray. So does anyone know what kind of chemicals might be of concern with this?
Smells.
Yeah, it's chemicals associated with the smell. So they're called volatile organic compounds. And so with any type of aerosol, cleaning compounds, anything that you're spraying into the air, the volatiles that need to bring the spray up into the air, those irritate the respiratory system, and those are cause asthma and allergies and things like that. So especially those for people can cause those conditions. So you really want to, if you're using these, to ventilate, so open windows and turn on your exhaust fans. And especially if people have things like COPD, any type of immune problems, deficiencies and things like that, it's better not to use these around those type of people. Or if you yourself has that, it's better not to use these type of things. So like, you know, in cleaning products and things like that, it's better to be away from that type of products, especially the very potent ones that use the aerosols and that have those type of sprays. And then if that type of person is coming into an area where you've just used those aerosols, it's better to ventilate and not have them in that area, because these type of things really bring those air pollutants into that area. So when and especially in indoors, you're in this confined space, and spraying this all around is keeping those volatiles, which are in you're polluting your indoor air with that. So it's really important to not do that because of that situation. So next we have this. I'm just wondering if anybody recognizes this. This is a very hard item to know. This is there's a chemical that's associated with it. I'm not sure. It's kind of something that Health Canada is promoting people test for in their homes. I'll pass it around in the room here.
Sure.
Something new, so
What is that for?
it's radon test kit. So it's a long-term radon tester. And what radon is, it's a gas, it's a naturally occurring gas that happens from the breakdown of soil and rock underneath your home. And it's a radioactive gas, and it's like carbon monoxide. You can't see it, or you smell it, or taste it. And it comes into your home, and in Canada, it's in all buildings. So even in this building, we have it. But when it's above 200 becquerels per meter cubed, that's when it can cause lung cancer. So it causes lung cancer, thank you. It causes lung cancer, and it causes it, you know, it's above that level, and it's the second leading cause of lung cancer next to smoking. So that's why Health Canada is doing a campaign to let people know about this and telling people to test for it. So
Can you test for it in your house? Can you test your machine?
yes, this is simply it. Yeah, this is, you put this in your house. It's, you buy it at, you know, the website, takeaction.radon, on radon.ca. I can provide it for people online, and it's on our Healthy Home website and stuff like that. And you actually, it's just this, and you're setting it on in your lowest lived-in level. Like when you buy it, it's about $60 for the kit. You put it for 3 months in your home, and then after the 3 months, you send it away in an envelope to the lab, and they tell you what your levels are. So yeah, it's a really easy test to do. And then the next item I have here, not sure if many people can see this, but what I have here, whoops, it's falling apart actually. I've been using it for many years. This is jewelry, costume jewelry. So it's a necklace, and my husband got it for me from, I think, Cuba. That's where he got it from. And does anyone know what can be a problem with costume jewelry?
Marks on your neck.
No, but
What's the question?
what chemical might be in costume jewelry?
Lead.
Yes, lead, exactly. And so lead, not on your neck, can be, yeah.
Mind repeating that, please?
Sorry, with costume jewelry?
No, I heard that part, but what was it?
Oh, lead can be a problem, yeah. So with costume jewelry, it's not like being on your neck that can be a problem, it's if people suck on it. So especially with kids. So if you have any grandkids, you know, like, or anything like that, and they're sucking on your jewelry or something like that you're wearing, that's the problem. Because when kids start sucking on it, the lead is ingested into their system. And especially with little kids, it affects their development. So that can be the issue with lead. So you want to be really careful with lead. And lead can actually surprisingly be in many places in the home. So we'll talk about that during the presentation. So yeah. So those are just some of the areas where you can find, you know, different chemicals, you know, and you know, in just everyday items that you may not be aware of that can be a concern, you know, and you can do things about it, you know, to manage your risk and just, you know, to watch out. And you have control and can be take steps to make sure that you're not exposed. And that's the important part, is just the exposure part of it, is just making sure that you're not being exposed to that.
Sorry, we're having a bit of a problem with, So
Okay.
just continue. I
Yeah,
don't know
no
whether they can
problem.
see the slides or not, but we'll just, I need to borrow that mouse again from you.
Oh yeah, no problem. So just as I talked about, I work with the chemical management plan. So it's just the government. So what the government does, like Health Canada, who I work with, we just work together with like the other parts of the government, like Environment Canada, and kind of see what chemicals are out in the environment, what chemicals like the industry is doing, putting out there in different products in the environment, and then assessing like the health risks to people, and to see what ways that we can kind of figure out what's there and let people know, like in these types of presentations, what products are there and what health risks are to people. And then the government does surveillance on those chemicals and does regulations, like says, you know, to the industry that, you know, these chemicals shouldn't be out there, and they need to be, you know, regulated or managed, or else, you know, they shouldn't be in these products. if they are not, safe. And then, like I said, we do these type of presentations as well. Is the presentation?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. So
That's
I
okay.
apologize.
I'll just go along with here. So just to cover off like what chemicals are exactly. Chemicals are really in everything that we have. Even we are made of chemicals. Yeah, like chemicals can be natural or manufactured. Like water's chemicals. Chemicals are like even in like our pillows. Our fabrics have chemicals in them when we wake up in the morning, and then like when we brush our teeth, the toothpaste that we use has got chemicals. The cosmetics that we use, the shower, can have mold in them. That's made up of chemicals. The chemicals are just surrounding us everywhere. And like I said, they could be natural, so it could be the wood smoke from just different forest fires, just even plants and animals around us in the environment are made up of chemicals as well.
Yeah, we're having problems here. So please just keep talking.
Yeah, for sure. No problem. Even the medication, that we take is made up of chemicals. So chemicals can be beneficial to us as well. Like a lot of chemicals are very beneficial to us. And even though some chemicals can be manufactured and some chemicals can be naturally in the environment, that really doesn't have a bearing on, whether they're good for us or bad for us. Even, like I said, radon that's naturally occurring is harmful to us. So even though you can see labels on things in the store that says naturally made or organic, those can be misleading titles, because just because something's natural or organic doesn't mean that it's good. So you have to really be aware of that. For example, penicillin is something that can be made in a lab, or it could be natural, so you really have to be wary, and also chemicals can be toxic for us. Everything can be toxic for us, like even water, in high doses really can be toxic for us. So when someone says, the toxicity of something, it's really, the dose that matters. So just always be wary of that, I think. And it's important to know that together with the hazard of something, so if you have a chemical and you have it in a bottle, like a household cleaner, it's the exposure that really matters. Like if you have the chemical in the household bottle in the cleaner and you're not being exposed to it in any way, it's locked up, it's away, it's high up, no one's being exposed, it's not a risk to you. But it's the exposure. If you were to take it and drink it, that's the risk. But you have control over whether you drink it or whether you're exposed in a certain, matter. So you're taking the steps, you could be your own risk manager in that way. So you can protect yourself and your family with your own knowledge. And that's why we provide you at Health Canada with the resources, with our website, with these type of sessions to kind of inform you so you can be a risk manager in that way and know about how to keep a healthy home and know about these chemicals in your environment so that you can protect yourself and your family. So the first step for keeping your, I'll kind of go through, the top 10 tips about keeping a healthy kind of environment, healthy home. And a lot of them, are kind of just general tips, but it's just ways to kind of keep your home, take your own management steps in your home. So the first one is keeping your home clean, because by cleaning floors and household surfaces with wet cloth or mop to remove dust. Because especially with dust, it can have a lot of lead in it, from outdoors, and a lot of heavy metals can be brought in from outdoors, from the industry. So, because they did a Canadian study where they measured lead indoors, and people, there's found that there can be lead in indoors. So when there's the dust, we're taking in that lead if we're not cleaning it up. So that's the good thing with using a wet cloth and wet mop, is to get that dust up, especially if you have small kids or pets, dogs that are down near the floor, they're ingesting a lot of that lead. And that dust, they find that dust contains a lot of contaminants. They even found it contains phthalates, which are plastics. Phthalates are used in a lot of cosmetics and a lot of other products, and phthalates can also cause harm to people. So and microorganisms like feces and chemicals from outside. So I really recommend, I look at the dust in my house a different way after finding out how much chemicals are in it. It's just really surprising how much, they've done some studies in Canada on the dust, and it's just surprising what they find in dust. And I really, I just recommend keeping that dust. Vacuuming, we recommend using a HEPA filter when vacuuming to clean that, the air, the particle air, because of the particles that can be in the indoor air. Those particles from outdoors, especially from the forest fires, they can come into your lungs and stuff like that. So using that HEPA filter really helps. And then, just using that stuff. And especially, we do recommend, taking your shoes off when you come inside. So, leaving them at the door, because those shoes can really bring in a lot of stuff from outside. So, that's a definitely important tip. Reading labels is very important, because keeping your chemicals in the original container, reading the labels for the safety information is on there, because it'll let you know any chemicals that are important that might be a concern. And if you have any issues with the chemical, like the cleaning product, and someone gets hurt from it, or you come into contact and you have a reaction, it's important to read the label, and then how to use the product properly, and store the product properly, because you don't want to be storing your chemicals where they can be in areas where there's food and there's other things that they heated areas or really cold areas where they could be undergo reactions and stuff like that. So it's important to read the label and know how to store and use your products properly. And then also, it's very important to make sure that you keep your products in original containers, because you want to be able to read the label and know what the product is. There's a lot of stories that we've seen where people actually have, there was an older gentleman, him and his wife got pesticide, and him and his wife, it was in a juice container. And he, unfortunately, one night got up really late, and they had marked the juice container, but it was late at night and he didn't realize and drank it. And he was feeling sick, and he put it in recycling, and she realized in the morning it was what had happened. He had got it mixed up, and he unfortunately passed away because of it. So it's just, and it was just that, not keeping it in the original container, and, it was just a sample that they had gotten of some sort of pesticide, and it just really, that sort of thing can really happen. And yeah, we've heard horrible stories like people tell us. So yeah, it's very important to do that. And it's also important never to mix chemicals, especially with bleach. Bleach and can cause some horrible gases. So you just horrible reactions. So, and then when you breathe them in, it just is not good for
I
you.
had an example.
Yeah.
Vinegar bottle, you know, the vinegar bottles, the little tiny ones?
Yes.
Chips, French fries?
Yeah, yeah.
My mother-in-law, what she did, she put Javix in it.
Oh, okay.
And so when her husband and my father-in-law, when he went to put vinegar in grabbed the bottle, put vinegar on his chips,
Oh.
he was putting bleach on his chip.
Oh, no.
And the bleach was for her dishes.
Oh.
And she had it on the windowsill, so
Oh, that's that's the kind of thing that you want to really avoid
she did a
happening.
lot of that kind of stuff. She actually put pills
Yes.
in a teacup,
Oh.
and he drank the coffee that was in the teacup.
Oh.
And her blood pressure pills.
Oh, yes. See, you have to be really careful, especially with different products and stuff like that happening, for sure.
I'm anxious that Odette get to do her
Okay.
final talk, so we will have a question and answer period.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just after
Yeah, and then locking up your chemicals is very important, you know, making sure that you keep them locked up in the different areas, you know, so that, like I said earlier, for the, you know, when you're dealing with chemicals, you know, that you want to keep them, you have the control over, you know, how you manage your chemicals, manage your risk, you know, even though the chemical might be a hazard, you want to make sure that anything that is hazardous is locked up out of the way of any kids, grandkids, or any pets that you might have that could get access. As I talked about, disposing of your chemicals properly, medication needs to go to like a pharmacy and stuff like that. Because if we dispose of it improperly, we're contaminating the environment more. And we're not, you know, we're just leading to further contamination of the air and the soil and the water. And then installing smoke and carbon monoxide alarms is very important in our homes to make sure that we're, you know, looking after ourselves and our families, especially like with carbon monoxide, you know, if we're not maintaining our furnaces or our appliances that can, you know, cause problems, you know, especially with, you know, vehicles in the, you know, garage, if we're running our vehicle or things like that, you know, we have to make sure that we're not doing that in the garage, and then we're also making sure if we have a garage door between the, you know, the house and the garage, that we're keeping it sealed properly. And then ventilating our home, as I talked about, is really important. You know, like our indoor air quality is so important. And when using any type of products, cleaning products, any aerosols, hairsprays, you know, scented products, anything like that, it's very important. Cooking actually can really pollute our indoor air even. So frying things pollutes our indoor air. So it's really important to ventilate, to use those exhaust fans, to open up windows. Any type of renovations actually is important to ventilate, sorry, when using paint. Paint has VOCs as well, like I said, from the aerosols. So when buying paints, you can look for low VOC. It'll say VOC, which is the volatiles that I talked about earlier. And you can look and have the option to actually buy the low VOCs. Even when you're buying like new furniture, you can look for low VOC furniture, because you know that new car smell and the new home smell, that's actually not a good thing. That's actually the VOCs that are coming off those products. Like the carpets, the new carpet smell, that's VOCs. So those aren't the good smells. It might smell nice and think, yeah, new, but those are actually the VOCs. So those aren't good. So you want to ventilate when you smell those things. Like when you buy those new mattresses and, you know, you unzip them and there's that smell. That's why they say, you know, ventilate. because those VOCs coming off of it, and those aren't good smells. They aren't healthy for you. So you really want to ventilate, especially and varnishes, any craft products, you want to ventilate for sure, because that's not good for your system to take those in. And then mold. If you have any moisture areas, ventilation is good. Keeping your humidity in your house between 30 and 50% is important. If you see any like wet spots, damaged areas, you want to, find out what the source is. Don't just like cover it up and clean it up. Find out what's the source, what's the moisture source, and fix it right away. Because if mold is growing, mold can become a huge problem. And mold is a fungus that'll affect your respiratory system, and it'll cause asthma and allergies and problems. If people have COPD, it can really cause huge problems with them. So you really want to get to that and figure out what's going on. If there's any spills, clean it up right away. In your bathroom and cooking, that's why if there's humidity, turn on those fans for sure and get to figure out what's going on. Mold, if it's a small area, like about 1 meter cubed, you can clean it up and you don't need bleach. You just need to use some soap and water. But if it's a larger area, and if it's an area that when you clean it up, it keeps coming back, that's when you need to hire a professional. So that's when we suggest to do that. And there are all these chemicals that I talk about, and all this information too is on our website. So we have really good resources that you can go to and find out under Health Canada Healthy Home. So, and I can provide you guys with that resource. And we also have our senior guides. I'll kind of point to everybody too. And then in older homes, they're pre-1975, there might be pipes or pipe systems that have lead in them. So if you, older pipes, correct. So if you suspect that your home might have lead pipes, we suggest you run your tap water until it's cold, and don't use that, run the tap water until it's cold and use that for drinking. Like, don't use your hot water for drinking or for making food or baby formula for people who might come over and use, your water for that. Because you don't want lead, because the hot water will have that lead from your pipes in it. So there is a filter that you can get for your taps and things like that. There's certain recommendations or certain requirements for it. So you can do that. And then you can also get replacements, which, get your pipes replaced, which I'm sure is pretty costly. And then also the city pipes can have lead in them. So it depends on how old your area is in the city and stuff like that, right? So if you suspect that, that's what's you might want to look into. And it's also sometimes important, like your tanks can be sitting overnight, and who knows what are in them and stuff, like just to let the water run in the morning, a little bit, just to get, that running, and, get the cold water out, or get it moving and stuff like that. So, but it's more with the lead in the drinking water that's important, just letting it run, especially for, drinking and cooking, and preparing baby formula. That's what we recommend. So for the older systems. And then I guess with COVID, washing your hands, especially everybody is aware, cleaning your hands and letting the warm water run for 20 seconds, is very important, and washing, often. And then, as I discussed earlier, testing for radon gas, in homes. And I went through that, and if you need more information, I can provide that, I'll provide my contact after. And like I said, it's #1 cause of cancer after smoking. So, I had some we don't have the presentation anymore, but that's okay. Like, we can have questions or, yeah, it's probably good to have questions now. I had some rooms we could go through, but I think we'll just go through questions for people. Yeah, I think that's important to kind of see what people have, and then if there's any more information on the home that people want to know.
Okay, I'll moderate, sir.
So radon, did you find out, do you have radon?
Yes. So if you do have radon, if there's, what they can do is they come in and they put in a system which pulls the radon out of your home, and they vent it out to the side or to the top of your house. So it's like a little fan. They actually, in new homes now, they actually have to put in the pre-install for this system, where it brings the radon out and to the side. So they drill a thing in your basement, and that brings it out. So yeah, and then even just sealing, because radon comes in through cracks, just little cracks in your cement, and then through the sides and piping and stuff like that. So even just sealing those things will reduce radon by about 10%, I think, about. So
That's from the earth.
yes, yeah, it's just from underneath, and even from one house to the other, like one person, like one neighbor can exceed, and one person, the next house cannot. So it's like people have told us, like, there's actually a map, Canada, that shows different, around Canada, how it's been exceeded and stuff like that. But yeah, it vary so much. Yeah.
Do we have any questions from online before I?
Yes, Joan has one.
Could you just read her question, Jan, please? We'll alternate online and in person.
Joan says, great session. We need awareness on the impact of invisible pollutants. I would like to hear Odette's comments on bug spray in the house. Also, does she have any comments on Brita filters? Are they effective?
Okay, yeah, so with bug spray, in the house, it depends, like, if it's an aerosol type, I wouldn't really apply it in the house. And if you are, like, I would ventilate as well, because the aerosol one is gonna produce the VOCs as well. With bug spray as well, there's also issues, or not issues with it. It will have a bit of a, it does have kind of some type of like pesticide, or not pesticide, but it will have other chemicals in it, sorry. So there's some information probably on our website about that. So, but there's certain recommendations about that, on what amounts to use and stuff. So it's important to read the label and follow directions for that. But I wouldn't make sure that if you're applying it in the house, to ventilate, or to apply it outside the house if it's like an aerosol. That's about it. And then just read the instructions for how to apply it and how much to apply it. That's what I would recommend. And
yeah,
then,
thanks.
yeah,
Thank
sorry.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And do you have any comments on the Brita filters, or that might not be in your area of expertise?
Well, no, the Brita filters for water, I just know, yeah, I just know with, like, I have a background with like environmental engineering, and like, just I know with drinking water and stuff, the water that comes out of your tap is pretty good. So like I don't really know if any of the Brita filters really help any more than that. So, like, to be honest, like I just know, like, my background in like drinking water and stuff that I did like my master's in and stuff, like I I don't really know if it really helps anymore, to be honest. So,
Yeah, I suspect that too.
so I don't really, but I don't really, we, like at Health Canada, I know like we've never had any recommendations on that. So,
Right.
that I know of. So I'm not I honestly don't specialize in that. So.
Right, for sure. Oh, thanks. That's great. Thank you so much, Odette.
Thank you, Joan. Eric, did you have a
I
question?
have two, one question and a comment.
Sure.
So the question is, radon. I grew up in Eastern Canada.
Yeah.
I had never heard of radon before.
Yeah.
When I moved to Edmonton,
Yeah.
when I moved to Winnipeg, apparently it was a big problem because there were a lot of
Yeah,
houses with
yeah.
wooden foundations.
Oh, yes.
Wooden bases.
Yeah, that makes it.
And so I heard an awful lot about that when I lived in Winnipeg. Is Edmonton also a bad spot for radon? And is it like geographically, is Western Canada more prone to have radon problems than Eastern Canada? Or?
No, they're also, like, I know my colleagues across Canada are letting people know, but I know definitely in Winnipeg it is a bigger problem. I think, I think it's a higher there, but I do know, like, if you do have an earthen basement, for sure it gets in more because you don't have the concrete, for sure. But we're just recommending everybody test. But I think it's just awareness. A lot of people just don't know about it. And it's something a lot of people just aren't aware of, for sure. And it's so variable that it's so hard for us to tell people, because like people just, you just don't know, because it's an invisible gas, unfortunately. So yeah, it's hard for us to be able to tell people, and especially if you have the earthen basement, yeah, you should test. If you're in an apartment high up though, you don't need to. Yeah, for sure, because it's greater the lower you go, and then it diffuses as you go up higher. It's less concentration. So
Historically, a problem with mines and miners, I think, the radon gas.
oh yeah, I can imagine, for sure. Yeah.
So
Eric,
then my
your question?
comment was on VOCs.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't smoked for years, and there's this film on the inside of all my car windows, and nobody has smoked in my car. And so I finally found out that that film that is on the inside of my car windows comes from off-gassing of the VOCs and the plastic that's in the car.
Oh.
So I just really, I'm a lot more sensitive about VOCs now than I used to be.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
that comment.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Interesting.
Jan and then Graham.
Hi, Odette.
Hi.
That was a great session.
Thank you.
You mentioned to take your old pharmaceuticals back to the pharmacy
Yes,
for
yeah.
disposal. Do you know how they get rid of them, the pharmacies themselves?
I'm not sure. I think, yeah, no, I'm not sure. Yeah, sorry.
Don't put them in the toilet and.
No,
and they're
no.
fishies then?
Yeah, because they go back into the environment. There must be certain ways, like, for the chemicals, like how to contain them properly, or make sure that they're not, because if the chemicals go back into the soil or the water, yeah, we don't want that for sure. But there must be certain ways that they dispose.
I think they burn them, high temperature burns, but then whatever the residue is left over, then they have to do something with that. So
yeah,
I don't think they just release it, but I think they do have a process.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do.
There's a process for all biohazardous waste.
Yes.
It's really not, it's a different thing. Graham, you have a question?
Radon detectors
Yeah,
seem to be, for something that small,
yeah, I know.
very expensive.
Yeah,
And you said that at the end of 3 months, you send it away for
yes.
reading.
Yeah.
Is one expected then to get another one and continue the process? So every 3 months, you're spending $60 on it?
No, it's just once.
Oh.
And then, yeah, just once. And then if something were to change, like if you were to do a major renovation in your house, then we would recommend you do it again.
Okay.
And then like, so yeah, no, it's just the one time. And then maybe another 5 years later or something, you know, just to check if something major changes, but it shouldn't change majorly, yeah.
A lot of seniors are on very fixed incomes, and we're all hearing about inflation and all that kind of good stuff. Is there any money available from Health Canada to help people do this, get one of these detectors?
Yeah.
If they can't afford it?
Not right now, not that I know of, no. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Yeah, it's $30 to $60, so, but it depends on the vendor, the vendors online, yeah.
Can I ask a question? Oh, sorry.
No, where can you buy one of these opt-in?
Well, there's the vendors online at takeactiononradon.ca that I'll give you guys the website for, and then places like home hardware stores like Home Depot and stuff like that. So, and Walmart, I'm not sure though, like exactly, but yeah.
What does radon mean?
So radon's a chemical, so it's that gas. It's the gas, the naturally occurring gas that comes from the ground that can, if we breathe it in, causes lung cancer. So, yeah.
You live in a home and you have downstairs somebody and upstairs, what do you do? Buy two of them or what?
No, you just need to put it in the lowest lived-in area because that's where it'll be the worst. Yeah.
And what is recommended? What part of the downstairs should I?
It'll come, the instructions will come with where to put it. Like there's different ways, but usually you can even just put it on a shelf or hang it like from a string from the ceiling. But the instructions will tell you for sure, yeah.
Anything more online, Jan, and then?
There is one comment, Larry. It's from Joan. It says, for future sessions, it would be nice to see the audience for context. Maybe have them sit a bit closer.
It would be nice to see the program.
We have some other problems to solve first.
That's a good suggestion, Joan.
But a
Thank
great
you.
idea,
Well,
yeah.
we can turn the camera after, if you want to see them during coffee time.
Yeah,
What's for discussion, for sure.
yeah.
My apologies to everyone for the technical problems. We're on a very steep part of the learning curve. So thank you for your patience and
I just want to say that while there were technical problems in this room with the projectors, there weren't online for the people participating by
except they couldn't see the audio.
Everything looked very great and was well heard.
Yeah. One of you was, sorry, there was someone here with a question, Eric.
Can you comment on like the reason that part? It's everywhere.
It's those, yeah, they definitely have the VOCs. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's best to reduce your use. We recommend, especially for VOCs, to reduce your use of any type of what are they called? Air fresheners. Reduce your use of any type of air fresheners. Yeah, we recommend that because of VOCs for sure. Yeah.
Just for a little bit at a time.
Yeah, but I would definitely ventilate. If you're using them, ventilate for sure. Yeah.
Doesn't that just completely negate any benefit you might be getting from the aerosol?
Well,
if ventilating is going to just go outside. So
it's your choice. Aerosols really, the air fresheners are just really covering up. They're not.
No, I wasn't thinking of just that. I was thinking the question about bug spray.
Oh, well.
Why not just tell people not to use aerosols in the house at all?
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely, you know, I would definitely reduce or just like ventilate when you're using them. But I mean, bug spray is definitely, you have to balance, right? Because bug spray is beneficial on your skin, right? And I mean, but the thing is you're going outside anyway, so why not, you can use it inside and ventilate, but I mean, you just want to make sure you're getting the bug spray on your skin, and that's the benefit. So you definitely want to use bug spray, but you just want to use it to the benefit, you know, so that's where the balance is. Where's the, you know, like, I mean, with air fresheners, is it, the smell is the benefit. Do you really need that? You gotta weigh it. That's where you're the manager, you gotta decide what's the benefit versus, right?
Yeah.
So.
I know Eric had a question, I see a question here and here, we're getting close to time, so, is there anyone else who's got a question who hasn't had a chance to speak yet? If not, I will say A, B, C, D, and you go out the people with the question.
Candles, cheap candles, I heard they're very toxic. If you use beeswax on them.
Candles, period, are not really the greatest for indoor air quality, because not only do they have the chemicals that they're bringing into the indoor air environment, they're also bringing in particles, and they can sometimes bring in mold, because just when they're sitting there, just the dust and everything can collect in them, right? So the mold can grow there as well. So when you're lighting them, they're burning off that stuff that's collecting around them, right? So that's why we recommend reducing your use of candles. Yeah, because candles aren't that great.
Beeswax makes.
No, it's just because like, and like when I look at my stuff in the home, like I love candles, to be honest, but I was just looking at it because I was like looking at it and like, it's just yucky, the stuff that collects there. And it is, and I was like thinking, yeah, like it does grow mold, and the particles and everything that you're burning off is the stuff you're breathing in, right? So yeah, candles can be bad for your indoor air quality. Yeah, so.
Eric?
Yeah, just one question, and I apologize if we weren't able to show your slide deck.
Yeah, no problem.
Would it be all right for us to email it out to attendees, or?
If I could just maybe change it, I'll alter it. I just don't want the notes and all my stuff. So I'll just change it to a PDF, and then I don't want it so it's alterable. So yeah. I'll just do that, and then I'll send it to you. And yeah, you can email that.
I appreciate that sometimes people don't want to share their slide deck, but
yeah.
I just, because we weren't able to show it today, we will email it out then.
Yeah.
Once you send it to me, I'll email it out to everybody.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
You, I believe, had a question.
I use a lot of Lysol, but not straight. I dilute with water and I have it in a spray. So I spray it not in the air, but I spray it on the ground. And even in the kitchen, but always down there.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
I think you're managing your risk really well by watering it down and stuff.
It's
like, and I think, yeah, I mean, I think like, you know, it's your decision, you know, like, and you're managing your risk. I mean, I can't say if it's, you know, like, I mean, just whenever you're using any type of cleaning, it's just good to kind of just make sure you're managing like what you're breathing in and stuff like that. But I mean, it sounds like you're doing a nice job, you know, with.
Yeah, doing it.
It's, you know, I can't really.
Comes will be an hour or so later. So.
Yeah, just make sure, you know, like, and too, when you're using cleaning products, it's always good to use gloves too, because especially with any type of, like Lysol has like bleach in it. So, you know, you just want to, but if you're watering it down too, that's good, right? So, but I mean, yeah, like it's just important to always like, you know, protect what you're breathing in and your hands for cleaning products and stuff like that. So, yeah.
You got a question?
Yeah, one quick one. I have a situation that's going on for the last 15 years. It's at home, my house. I have a landscaper that lives across the street from me, that he puts his equipment there. Plus, he goes around the world or around the city, blowing dust and leaves. And it's coming through my windows.
Oh.
And is there a bylaw against them blowing? It's like he could pick up the leaves.
Yeah.
No, he blows the leaves to the neighbors. Anyhow,
yeah.
My question is why is there a bylaw against blowing? chemicals and they spray stuff and,
Oh, okay.
anyway.
I would check with the city of Edmonton because I'm not aware, but I would definitely, yeah, I would be concerned just with the amount of dust coming in and stuff like that, because yeah, dust can, like I said, contain a lot of different chemicals, and I would be concerned, you know, a little bit, because I wouldn't want that, you know, just all that coming in for sure, you know. But I would check with the city of Edmonton would be the best place to look, and yeah.
The nearest thing we have to the city of Edmonton is a former councillor. Did this issue ever come up in your town office?
I don't think there's any specific bylaw. I mean, the city is concerned about, there's a lot of push about using pesticides. The city has some regulations about the noise. There is a noise bylaw that's really loud. You might be able to get them fined because it's so loud, but I don't think otherwise that there's any city bylaw that would deal with it.
Did you come here for that reason, just to answer my question?
Pretty sure.
I have a quick thing to say.
Sure.
Just going over the years, we have been here for 40 years. Up to 10 years ago, we were doing our own thing, doing the manual raking. But now we get people, contractors to do it, and they always blow. And it doesn't make a lot of noise. But you know, when it makes a lot of noise is when they bring all the other equipment to rake and everything, that's very noisy. But
Yeah.
so far nobody has complained. What can we do?
Yeah,
We are living in a home, we need those services, right?
yeah.
So we cannot do anything about it. But blowing, they have no option because they have a big yard
Yes,
and they have to blow. They can't rake.
yes, yeah, for sure, yeah. So,
One thing I complain about is I live right on the main road, going to hospital. And other than the ambulances, you know what makes a noise? The fast cars, the sports cars and like.
oh, yes, yes.
I live 100
We
miles
have some
from Tony.
questions online that
Sorry.
oh,
4 minutes.
or, yes, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem at all.
Anyway, we are basically at the end of the formal program, but I hope everyone will stay, and perhaps you can stay.
Yeah, I
for
can
a
stay,
minute-
for sure.
For a minute for coffee and cookies and conversation,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
get more picking of the brain about all sorts of chemicals. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, yeah.
Odette. So I hope we will see you all next week when the topic will be tissue and organ donation. And we have someone coming from the HOPE program at University of Alberta Hospital, a nurse and transplant coordinator, Trudy Young. Trudy will be presenting from online on Zoom, so we'll do. So I hope you can all make it, and I'm delighted to see you. And thank you all for attending our inaugural session.
Would it be okay if I just pan the camera around the room? I mean,
Yeah.
is everybody ready? What's up?
Even if the presenter.
Hi. Hi. Hello. Oh, that's nice to see.
Okay,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Eric made.
Feel so lonely over here.
Eric made cookies.
Yeah, I want cookies.
Oatmeal cookies.
You
Thank
get
you.
online cookies, Joe.
Yeah, okay.
Virtual
Thank
good.
you. Thank you, 18 with Pride. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Sage. Thank you, Pride Center.
I have an evaluation, if you guys don't mind, some of you or whoever can stay and fill it out.
Do you have paper?